Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general horoscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are the general energies, trends and themes that we're likely to be experiencing over the course of the week. And always these are informed by my intuitive message, which is I go into my intuition and I will ask for a message, and sometimes I'll get like a picture, sometimes it'll be a feeling, a thought or an impression, and from that I pull the weekly message from the intuitive side. Now, before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So this week, the intuitive message was open up to the stars. Now, all I saw when I closed my eyes and I said, what is it this week that we need to know? I just saw like, it looked like a giant hand was just sprinkling stars all over the place, right? So the way that I took this was, and then it was open up to the stars. What I saw after that was a bird, and it was like a black bird, and as it was like opening its mouth to sort of screech, it was starting to turn white from the beak downward. And what I kind of took that, it reminded me of an old card. So I had an old tarot deck. I don't know if anybody remembers this. It was called the Celtic Dragon Tarot. It's one of the first decks that I ever bought as a tender teeny. And I love this deck, and the death card wasn't actually called death. It was, I think it was called transformation. And in that there was a black dragon that was kind of screeching, and like you could see like all of its, it was shedding its black skin basically. And you know, this isn't about black and white or anything like that. It's about the polarity of energy. And so when I got the message open up to the stars, this is a case of whatever the universe is sprinkling on your life right now, this is what's going to make you grow. So if there are challenges that you're facing right now, if there are experiences that you're kind of like, yeah, I could do without this, you need to ask yourself, why is the universe giving me this experience? What is it actually preparing me for? What is it paving the way for me to experience greater joy, love, depth, honesty, self-reliance, right? This is about really a moment of honesty to say, okay, am I being as trusting in the universe as I possibly can be at this moment in time? So for our destiny card, the overarching energy, trend or theme for the week ahead from the Human Design Oracle deck, we have the Gate 55 and abundance. And the message behind this, so many of you know Denise Matthew. She's a wonderful soul. She's actually a very good friend of mine, a lady I've done many collaborations with, and hope to again soon. Stay tuned. This card, basically, when we talk about this, what she often says with this is the energy of the Gate 55. It's about trust in the universe. It's actually about knowing that the universe has your back, and then for sort of really acting or moving through life in that space. It is about abundance. It is about resources. This is a resource card. And it's also a card to remind you that whatever we are dealing with, going through or experiencing at any given moment, there is a reason behind it. And if we can open up to whatever it is that's behind the lesson, that's how we truly reap the rewards and the blessings. All right, so with that said, whatever you're feeling, and this isn't to say, oh, just brush it aside and whatever you're feeling doesn't matter because something better is coming along. It's about you being prepared right now. You're being sharpened, you're being honed, just like the finest steel for a blade, right? It needs to be tempered. Have you ever seen the process of a sword being made? That metal gets absolutely trashed, pounded, beat, soaked, heated, beaten again. And then in the end, when you see that finished product, it's absolutely amazing. And that's what this week kind of feels like to me. So if you're feeling a little bit wrung out in some way, shape or form, just know that you are being tempered for something greater that comes off the back of this. Now, in terms of the direction energies, how do we get into that space, right, of knowing and trusting that the universe has our back? How do we tap into our own abundance of mind, body, spirit, and resources? How do we open up to the stars? We've got the Three of Wands. Through really thinking about your longer term plans, goals, and future, So this is a time to be really honest and really open actually about what it is that you want, and really start to think about the future. With the Queen of Wands, laying firm boundaries. So and what I heard for someone just now, you know, for all of us in some way, this is really about drawing a line under something that you know is done. All right, so this is about getting really honest with yourself as well. And then we've got the Tower card. So the Tower card, especially with the Three of Wands has been drinking. So is the Tower by the looks of it. The Tower card is, you know, this is a big moment, a big realization, a big moment where something kind of shifts or changes, but it's also where some part of our lives is kind of cracked open, right? And the thing about the Tower card, and I say this to all of my clients as well when it comes up in readings, this card, once the tower has fallen, when the dust settles and the rubble is cleared, whatever or whoever is left in your life after this, you can absolutely trust. If it survives the tower moment, then you know that this is something or someone that is meant to be in your life. Now, the Tower card with the Queen of Wands, this could be that you overstep, or maybe you break your own boundaries in some way, shape or form, right? So maybe an experience shows up or a connection happens this week, and through that connection you kind of step back and say, wow, you know what, I broke my own rules here. Right? And if you can't hold to your own rules, regulations, or your own standards, why in the fuck else would anybody else hold to those standards as well? And so this is really a moment to ask yourself, have you set yourself an impossible task? Are you being way too hard on yourself? I know I am from time to time. So that's one way that these things could show up. Another thing as well, so the Queen of Wands is usually a fire sign woman, Aries, Leo or Sagittarius. Now, because they show up with the Tower card and the Three of Wands, the Three of Wands is actually a very lucky card. So one way that this could show up is maybe a spontaneous opportunity or connection comes in for you this week, and because you're so busy doing things the way that you've always done them, or trying to be hard-headed about how it has to be, maybe you realize, shit, I'm actually shooting myself in the foot here. This is really, more than anything, I think this is about honesty. It's about honesty about what you want. It's about honesty about what your future entails if you continue on the path that you're on. And that's what readings are all about, right? Whenever we read the cards, you're looking at a snapshot of how your life is now, what's likely to transpire if you continue on the path that you're on. That means you always have a chance to change it. You always have free will. You always have agency in some way, shape or form. And then finally, for the insight cards, if we could see round corners, if we could see round bends, which we kind of can, what is it that we need to know? What is it that we might not be aware of that may be getting in the way of us reaching this abundance? All right, so the way that we get to it, or the way that we utilize this energy, is by really thinking about our future plans, laying firm boundaries, and then being really honest with ourselves about whether we are or aren't able to keep to those standards and or boundaries. The insight, we have the Moon card. So things aren't as necessarily 100% clear this week, because it is the Moon card, right? So there's a little bit of wavering on your path, or maybe your decision. With the Six of Cups, now interestingly enough, both of these cards represent the past, right? The Moon card is the past, whereas the Six of Cups is happy memories. So this week it might be easy to get kind of sidetracked by what you would like, or the shoulda, coulda, woulda energy. But really what you want is to be more proactive. And then we've got the Temperance card. Now, interestingly enough, these two cards for me, the way that I feel the energy of these cards, they really do have a lot in common. And so this does suggest that this week, the insight card basically said, the insight triplet, should I say, is basically saying this week you have the chance to address something from your past. You have the chance to remediate something from your past. You've got the chance to kind of really say, okay, I had this experience. I'm no longer going to let it define me. Or maybe the realization that you have is the reason I've been cutting off my nose to spite my face, or not able to hold certain boundaries, etc., is because of the shift that's taken place from the person that I am now to the person that I used to be when I set that specific boundary or standard for myself. our boundaries and our standards can always change and evolve, right? They should always be evolving, not devolving, and only you can answer that for yourself. So there's a big realization here this week, and potentially some kind of healing when it comes to the past, when it comes to some previous version or essence of self is now being revealed. Now, that being said, we do have a full moon in the sign of Virgo. Stick out. So today this video comes out. Tomorrow you will be getting your full moon in Virgo video, so check that out. But yeah, it's just a really interesting set of cards, and in terms of the insight, what do we really need to know? There's some aspect of our past or our, previous version of ourselves that we're laying to rest now. And it's really creating or helping to create some kind of internal space or some kind of peace with a version of ourselves or our lives that no longer really resonates with us or even serves, and may actually be getting in the way of this, right? So the realization will come, and it will be about your boundaries or things that you've put in place. The insight is actually, the cards are saying here that we are addressing this week. Open up to the stars, right? That's one of the things with the Temperance card. There's a complete trust there. It's not quite the Star card, but it's a very, very close second. All right. With that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how this shapes up for you. With that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.